Hey guys, Dantix here, talking about Anthem today. Yes, I know. Even mentioning the word makes most people's bums tighten up harder than Chun-Li on leg day. Gonna have to bear with me. At the very least, keeping you updated on those trying to fix their mistakes has to be at least a little entertaining. Recently, BioWare has dropped a blog covering what to expect in Anthem 2.0. For those who don't know, BioWare has pulled live service of the game and are buckling down to release 2.0 called Anthem Next. So the number one thing people wanted fixed in Anthem was, of course, loot and equipment goals. This is what I and many others asked to know more about on Twitter, and it seems BioWare's Christian Daly, the studio director on the project, has come through. In a big way, guys. You know, all those problems we had with the garbage loot system, well, they're gone. Even though these changes are, well, subject to change themselves and are works in progress, we can see that there is progress, and Anthem 2.0 is looking to be legitimately worked on beyond the pirate and environmental assets I showed you a few videos ago. Alright, so the first thing that BioWare is aiming to add is a satisfying loot experience. Christian first notes that they understand a good loot system needs to be extensive and robust, and that it went wrong for them. I think they simply didn't have the time to do it properly, but that's a topic for another video. So they realized that they needed to build something new from the ground up instead of band-aid patching what was there. And so that's what they're doing. They listened to thoughts, feedback, and did some research on the best looters out there. They've come up with these points. Number one, they want to respect your time. This means increasing the frequency of loot drops, which was an issue at release as you never felt like you were gaining decent loot for your build. Ironic because the name of our podcast was Loot Drops. Loot is more viable more often. All items are better and more competitive, but there's still a chance of getting something exceptional. So this was another issue in the game, as legendary loot was not able to be found early, with commons being gated to low levels, rares those over a particular level, and legendaries restricted to the highest of characters. This means that you never got a squirt of serotonin when checking out your loot. Which brings me to this point, all loot rarities have strategic value throughout progression. During EA Play last year, BioWare took us into a meeting room and discussed what they could do to improve the game. It really feels like they listened to our feedback, so let's just hope they do it. Number 2, embrace choice. You can pursue specific loot without relying on randomness alone, quests, specialized vendors, unique loot tables. The only way to get decent loot in the game was if they dropped. With the sheer variance and randomness of each piece, it was difficult to get what you needed, with lots of loot being relatively worthless. Hopefully, alternate means to find gear will change this. Modify your loot, including re-rolling inscriptions and leveling up items. So this is more in line with a game like Diablo, World of Warcraft, and even the upcoming Cyberpunk. As now, a piece of loot won't be obsolete a few levels later as you can modify them and level them up, and great loot can be modified to suit your needs. Obviously, a phenomenal change. Number 3, create a rewarding loot experience. Loot feels exciting and more noticeable when it drops and is celebrated when collected. You can see that in the video here. We get an explosion of loot, which is more in line with a game like Borderlands. Previously, you needed to wait until the end of the mission to know what loot you got. Famously, in the first gameplay trailer we ever received for Anthem, the one that didn't reflect where the game actually was in production, the Jara's Wrath drops and is celebrated by the gamer who picked it up. In the actual release version of Anthem, however, this couldn't happen. Well, now it can, and we see a little nod to that player actually picking up the weapon. More on this in a second. So as you saw, rare enemies, aka walking treasure chests, create exciting moments to get a burst of loot all at once. This appeals to the slot machine program minds we all have. Number 4, keep it accessible and immediate. Reveal and equip loot right away. Yes, the loot you get out of an exploding enemy can now be not only seen before the end of the mission, it can be equipped during the mission. So if you find something amazing, slap it on and try it out right away. This will save you having to dig through menus and jump in and out of games to test equipment. And with those massive loading times back in the day, that was really hard. Yes, you may have squad mates sitting in menus during your game, but it's a small price to pay. There's a complete revamp of the equipment sheet, including detailed stats. And the equipment sheet can be accessed from anywhere, allowing you to easily see what you have equipped in each slot, which you can see in this mockup. Number 5. Reliability of equipment and rewards. Each inscription has a budget based on its power and rarity. This most likely means that the amount of inscriptions and their power on each item is limited by the budget allocated, but you can manually add what inscriptions you want. No more useless items because they were missing must-have inscriptions. Exceptional items are about getting the exact type of bonuses you want instead of maxing values on each bonus. This is a huge boon, as previously it took a shocking amount of grinding to get the item you wanted, then close to an impossible amount of grinding within that to get the inscriptions on the item you wanted. Since you had no other way of getting items and you couldn't modify them, this was the only way. Now, say hello to decent loot. Number 6. Scale for the future. Your power cap can be easily increased and the loot system scales accordingly. I just hope this doesn't mean that some loot is locked to level again. Finally, advanced telemetry data allows us to identify trends and make meaningful balance changes. This means a service like Anthem will provide an experience where no one build dominates, which is the way forward, as having only one viable endgame build is disheartening. Christian also mentions that in addition to loot and equipment quality, they've also improved the sheer amount of types of weapons and items that they're supporting. We can see some designs here. It's not the best quality image, but we get an idea of the variety. Before, one type of gun looked the same to every other type in its rarity. Every shotgun looked like every other shotgun of the type, and once again, not good for progression. Also, they mentioned that the gunplay feels more responsive, with enemies reacting to hits near instantly with improved client-side predicting. They're also looking into the role of melee items and builds, so those begging for melee, your prayers might be answered. They are also looking into spending skill points to unlock new types of equipment and synergies, which is something they can use their otherwise pointless leveling system for. Christian does mention that this is not an easy fix and will take time, so don't expect anything soon. My estimate was E3 2021, but it's more likely this time next year as COVID has set things back. Alright, how do I feel? I'll be honest, I've been burnt quite a bit with Anthem and it's hard for me to forget, so I remain cautious with anything they promise, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be happy if it was truly fixed and we were listened to. The game does have potential of being truly great because the moments you're flying around, dropping missiles and firing down on your enemies was a power fantasy that I'd never experienced before or since. I'm crossing my fingers but not holding my breath. So thanks for watching, guys. What do you think? Let me know below. I'm not going to cover every little detail about Anthem because it's not a topic people are that interested in right now, but if something major is shown, I'll be all over it and cover everything that I missed. So until next time, friends.